Kiwi. And trying to start yet once more. Shut up, cell phone. Your PC speakers do that too sometimes. Like, I know every time AT&T does like some kind of update or push, because I have this one set of old speakers here that is on the exact same operating frequency as the AT&T network pushes. So it's like, yeah, it's like I know, oh, they're pinging my phone. It's like, it was, if I have it too close to the speaker, it's like, anyways, moving on. This is probably, if y'all are watching regularly, the second Linux episode of this week, since I still haven't published the other one. I'm hoping to get that up tomorrow. I just haven't had time to go ahead and edit it, that Jordan and me filmed last week. And I'm like a week behind on some shit because of that. So I guess it might be a good thing that PCV Mac didn't get done this week, is to give me catch-up time. So we don't have Jordan today. He's having fatigue problems. He will be elsewhere, so it's just me and James today. But I don't know how much of this we'll get into, but we're definitely going to get into some of this. Some of this, it might be better to hold off till we have Jordan back. Anyways, getting on to the first thing. This was something I actually want to talk about in last week's show, but you were the one who was keeping up with it more, so we didn't really go into it. And it looks like we've had yet more developments. So, what the heck's going on with the Libres and the Open and the Oracles? You're muted. I have no sound from you.
Alright, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. This is now a Verizon ad.
Alright, so Oracle recently told the members of OpenOffice who are working on LibreOffice to leave. And recently 33 developers of OpenOffice left to join the Document Foundation. I think they left before Oracle made them, because they actually sent Oracle a letter. What Oracle was saying is that it's a conflict of interest, and so they actually sent them a letter. And
well, boy, you can tell somebody at Oracle realized that they needed to put a PR spin on this, because 2 weeks ago it's a hostile fork, and now it's a conflict of interest. That just sounds so much better.
So, yeah, that's good. It's good that we have 33 more developers that are going to work on LibreOffice. But, I don't know. Oracle apparently is saying that OpenOffice, they're going to continue to work on it. So, we'll see.
Yeah, it's okay. And on that, we'll see. It's like they've had it for how many months? Yeah, it's like as you pointed out a while back, the day they got it, they made sure to get rid of that Sun logo and put that Oracle logo in there, like the day of. But haven't done a damn thing since. So then there's a fork to go, well, we'd like work to start again. So there was like no reconciliation, no attempts, no...
Maybe they didn't care about it until somebody else took it. I mean, right when Oracle got this, this is a few episodes ago, right when Oracle, bought Sun, we were talking about OpenOffice, and you talked about how there would be a fork, so now it's happening.
It's like, I'm a bit curious, because there's talk they're going to be stupid enough to do this same kind of bullshit with VirtualBox, and I really hope that, the only thing it's looking like they're not going to do it with is MySQL, and I think even Oracle's smart enough to realize, if we do it with MySQL, we will have federal regulators up the wind gang, whether it's right or wrong. Because the internet runs on MySQL, and even the United States government doesn't take too kindly when you start fucking with the internet. You know, all of a sudden, laissez-faire don't apply. It's we will make you pay. So there's that. I just find this like I actually don't know this. What is the number of developers? Do you know this number of developers that are on that were on the open office team? Like what percentage is it? I mean, 33 sounds like a lot, but it could be 33 of 700, or it could be 33 of 50. In which case, that's a big hit.
No, apparently, it's 33 out of. 33 is a small percent.
Okay, like what's the percent? What's the overall number, or rough number of developers?
I don't know. I just remember I read an article and it said 33 members left, and it said a small number. So I'm guessing that it has 33. I mean, 33 is a lot of. You know, you can make a lot of stuff with 33 developers, but
you can make a lot more with 1,000. It's like
yeah, but it's probably not more than 10%. I'm guessing.
Okay.
If I were to guess, I don't know how to check that. How would I check how many people are working on Open Office?
Well, I'd say go to Oracle, but since Oracle is proving to be slightly anti-open source as of lately, I would say go to the old openoffice.org page and see if it's on there anywhere. Assuming Oracle hasn't removed it yet. Look.
Maybe it'll have it on Wikipedia.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. It's going to be strike two. It's like that's one of those things that isn't always disclosed, but if it is, it's like because the only reason I'm bringing that up is maybe being relevant is because what fork is going to be followed. I mean, it isn't just OpenOffice and LibreOffice. Why there are several distros that have the resources that are going, yeah, we now support LibreOffice. LibreOffice is going to be in our repo, yada yada, and so forth. But there's a lot of projects and a lot of distros use like GoOffice, which takes one of the forks of that and then builds stuff on top of it and releases basically a cookie cutter kit for easy implementation. And which fork those follow is going to depend on a lot of things.
Yeah, I don't see how many developers they have, but
well,
all that I know from the article is that it's not a large hit.
Okay, like, and the other thing is like we're any of these key developers, because you know we can go back, we can test this. It's like sometimes it isn't the number of developers you lose, it's which developers you lose, as evident by the way the Xerox Palo Alto Research Center started to fall by the wayside. You know, when the GUI stuff went out the door, they lost 12, and then over the next few years a few more of their key people who were doing all the work, and then over the course of the 80s they lost another 2 waves of key people. While they still had 85% plus of their development team, they had lost all the project leader and key head people, so the whole thing just kind of, it's like it also depends which developers left.
And honestly, it's the kind of people that would leave a project if they don't like how it's going. Those are the same kind of people that really are the best kind of developers.
Well, it depends. It's like there's a certain part of being a good developer is the ability to work with others and meet standards. And why I hate to say this, because I hate this phrase, think inside the box. But it's the people who can think inside the box while throwing the box out the window who get this stuff done, and they're far and few and in between. Honestly, I don't think there's enough information at this point to know where on that Slido scale roulette these 33 people set. 10 years from now, we'll be reading about it on Wikipedia. Oh, the day that these people screwed up, or the day that Oracle screwed up. It's like, cause we all look at this in hindsight now, but honestly, in the late 70s, I don't think anybody, realized how much Xerox boned the pooch. You know, that's how much the East Coast screwed up. We all laugh at them now, but in the day, it was one of those, personal computers. Computers are for corporate people. It's like, we know about Moore's Law now and things like that. Anyways, so, okay, so we don't really know the particulars on that. We know they're not going to be stupid if this is MySQL. There's a growing fear because of the way OpenOffice has been handled that the licensing for VirtualBox is going to change to be unfavorable. Are you afraid of that, or do you think that's people overreacting to the way OpenOffice has been? Or do you think from what's happened with OpenOffice, regardless of how this turns out in the long run, that Oracle has realized they need to kind of play ball here if they want to keep what they've bought?
Well, I mean, I think that Oracle's very much so a server company, and Sun did a lot more than just servers, as I understand it. So, an Office suite isn't really their top priority as a server company, right? But virtualization is very important for a server company. So that might be, they might do more stuff because that's more important to them. Just like MySQL would be more important to them as a company who does databases and servers.
Yeah, well, it's like the concern is
rather than Sun, who did Java and a bunch of other stuff, and yeah.
Yeah, that's actually something we need to talk about in PCV Mac, because it's like wave one of Java dying was Oracle suing everyone on Java.
Wave one was Oracle even getting Java in the first place.
Yeah, I know, but like Java is now officially dying. That's something we do need to talk about on PCV Mac. It's like the first volleys of Java must die have started, and I wonder why. It's like we can thank Oracle for this. It's like
maybe Java as in Oracle Java, but what about Dalvik, which is Google's Java? Is that dying?
We don't know yet. But we'll talk about this on PCV Mac. But it's like I honestly think I think they're just being the first to do it. But I think it's the plan of everyone, especially with how Oracle's acting. They just don't want to fuck with it.
Without Java, what would Google do? How would people write apps for Android?
Honestly, it would not surprise me, because Google is working on Chrome, or Chrome is like the Chrome OS, not the browser. And one thing, and it pains me to say this, that Linux is missing is something that both Unix and Windows have, which is an alternative language, higher level language to use in place of Java. It's largely .NET and Windows and other variations thereof, C#, yada yada. I forget what the one. I can't remember. It's C something for Apple and Unix systems.
Objective-C.
Objective-C. Thank you. And there isn't really an equivalent. You're a big fan of Python, and I guess with proper Python might be able to fit the bill on powerful enough systems on Linux, but I wouldn't really put it to the solution to do that. But one of the things Google has been doing lately, because they really would like to get out of this whole, well, we either deal with Apple or we deal with Microsoft bubble, is they've been doing a lot of development. VP8 is a perfect example. And then they just open source it. It would not surprise me if at some point in the next 5 years, as part of building the Chrome OS, Google designs some equivalent language, puts in all the effort to develop it, and then goes, oh, by the way, we're going to open source this so that anybody can use it. And I would see that rapidly being adopted by many open source things that are dependent on Java right now as an alternative to get out from under this Oracle hook. Because it's Google has the money to defend against nuisance suits like this. Open source projects don't.